What I would tell people is never settle in your life. And especially, with business or passion or opportunities, it's never going to be the right time. People stay in a career even that they hate for years because they're so afraid of what's on the other side. I mean, in a marriage, there's a little more. I have a beautiful daughter, and she was 7 years old. So it was a big decision. We did a lot of counseling. There was a lot of processing. And again, same thing. I really felt like I gave it everything that I could. And I don't regret it. I don't regret that relationship. That was my growing up time. There were a lot of lessons. I chose that relationship. And I feel that I needed to go through those things that time to bring me where I am today, to give me the resilience that I have today.
Yeah, resiliency, that's probably one of the most important traits that I think somebody can have if they want to be successful at anything, let alone being an entrepreneur. It's critical because that's the only way that you're going to be able to learn and keep pushing and bring together all the lessons that you're learning to build something. What would you say is the number one trait that's made you successful?
Persistence.
Why persistence?
I say persistence is stubbornness all dressed up. I was born stubborn. My mom would definitely attest to that. If I got something stuck in my head as a kid, it was going to happen. But the persistence part is a little bit different. I mean, stubbornness can also be an obstacle and get in your way, because as you become a leader, you need to be flexible. You really need to listen and know that you don't always have the answers, lots of times. But persistence is that you are so determined that you're going to make it happen, even if it looks like all the cards are against you. Even if you wake up going, there is absolutely no proof that this is going to happen. But if you have that persistence inside of you that you're just going to stick with it, and you're just going to stick with it until it happens, it always does. It always does.
What's the process that you use for that? Because I loved what you said earlier, and this is something that my mom said to me when I was a little kid as well. And I think there was a TV show called like My Friend Flicka or something. And the kid that rode the horse in the show didn't know how to ride a horse. But his mom said, if anyone ever asks you in an interview or an audition, if you know how to do something, just say yes and we'll figure it out. So they said, do you know how to ride a horse? He didn't, but he says yes. They, hire him, and then he goes and learns before they shoot for the first day. And when my mom told me that story, that always stuck with me. So I love that. But many people don't know how to follow that up with how to go learn how to ride the horse. So in your tenacity, your perseverance, sticking through with something, what is your process? And this is the thing that I want people to really understand about your book. There's no fluff or hype in your book. You're just like, do this, do this, do this, learn this, go here. It's like, it's so instructional. It's basically an instruction manual, which I love. And it's one of the reasons that I respect the book so much. So what is your process for when you've said yes and now you have to go learn? How do you actually, in an efficient manner, go learn something new?
Well, I mean, in the book, just backing up a little bit, I wanted to not only inspire people to break through and to be able to scale their business in this last book, but I want to give them the steps to do it. Let's make it easy. Business doesn't have to be complicated. But I think that as far as persistence goes, and once you say yes and your back's against the wall, you got two choices. You can look like a complete fool because you kind of, oh yeah, I can do this. You've got to back it up. So having a little pressure on you, I think, is a good thing. I know that when I was a single mom and I had no money, and I mean getting purses and shaking them out, trying to find a few coins to be able to go get a cup of coffee. There's something about being there that's really good and humbling, because it makes you want that more and to say, you know what, that's the impetus that's going to push you forward. And, I think the beginning is ask for help. I think that people feel like asking is a sign of weakness, asking for help is a sign of weakness, and I really feel like it's a sign of strength. And it's just smart. You know, if you ask someone that's been there and done it, you know, they're walking the talk, then they're going to get you directly to where you want to go. It's like a geoforce moving you forward to your solution.
Yeah, it's interesting. When I hear people talk about solutions, I think about one of the most important things that you had in your book, which is clarity. And your whole notion of it's either a hell yes or a no way. And how does that all work together? What is the concept of hell yes or no way? Why is clarity so important?
Yeah, the hell yes or no way first came to me, you know, after that accident, when I think that when your desire for change becomes stronger than your fear. Because your fear will keep you crippled, will keep you paralyzed. But when you want it so badly that you're like, you know what, fear, out of my way, you know, that's really where the breakthrough happens. And the clarity is, it's just that feeling inside where everything is congruent, where the way you feel, the way you live, the way everything on the inside, your values, your beliefs are in sync. They're in alignment with what you say and put out into the world. I think there are a lot of people that are depressed, ill, because they're living one way, but they're feeling another, and there is this constant battle. There's this constant fight. So the clarity comes when it finally all comes together, and it just feels like, whew, yeah, that feels right. That feels good.
Yeah, that's getting in that alignment is really important. I know that you walk people through how to create that clarity in their life. How do you help people with that? And what can somebody watching now, like what kind of process can they go through to get the level of clarity that they're going to need?
Yeah, so it obviously depends on what type of clarity they're looking for. But I really like to give people the space to do that. I think that if we're like pushing it and searching, it doesn't always come. So when you can get yourself into a creative space, like when you're a kid and you're just playing and having fun, you are who you are. You are in alignment. You're not doing it because you have responsibilities or you have demands or you're going to feel guilty if you don't do it. You're just doing what feels right. So I think if we can take moments, and part of why I love the trapeze, but whether that's painting or whether that's gardening or taking a walk and really allowing your mind to clear, that's where the best ideas come. So the first is just to clear your mind and get to that space. And in the book, I show several processes to get to that clarity. And one of them is looking at, what did you love doing as a kid? What did you love from 0 to 12, 12 to 20? And what were some things that you've always wanted to do, like your bucket list, but you've never done? What are your talents? You know, what are your passive talents, like, oh, I'm really organized, or I'm very compassionate, or those active talents, like I play classical piano, or I know rocket science, whatever it is. And you start to pull all these things together, and this is some of the things we do with our clients, whether we're helping them create new revenue streams, you know, or a new business altogether, or taking their business to the next level. It needs to be in alignment with who they are. Because if they're just doing it for the money, they won't stay with it. They won't give it that persistence that's needed in the long haul to see it through to success. It's what's going to get you out of bed on the tough days. What's going to get you excited when the doors are slamming in your face? What's going to, you know, get you rah-rah for your team when you just looked at your P&L and you can barely cover salaries? It's not going to be for the love of money. It's got to be that deeper passion, that bigger reason, your legacy, that is going to fuel you forward. And then that ultimately turns everything else around, because then you stick with it and you give it that persistence.
So as you continue to build your businesses and take it to the next level, you've gone across so many different industries. Obviously, it takes an extraordinary amount of time. You must clock an unbelievable number of hours, but one thing that you've spoken to is just being absolutely critical is self-care. Why is that so important? Do you think of work-life being a balance? I know you said that there's a real crossover between life and work for you, but how do you integrate that in a way that's healthy for you?
Well, after you run over yourself, you kind of relook at the way you're operating, and that was not healthy for me. And I would say over the years, a couple other times that I really crossed that line, not in an automobile, but where I was just really run down, or I had a friend going, "You look like hell," It's like, okay, I need to sleep. The trajectory was when I got out of the ad business, I discovered homeopathic medicine, and that actually changed my life.
Why is that?
Well, I had, I was raised in Oklahoma. My mom always took me to the doctor. I didn't even know what holistic was. And then,
if you had to define holistic, you gave a brief definition before, but if you really had to break it down for somebody that's watching that doesn't know what that means.
Well, holistic and homeopathic are very different. And I think a lot of people interchange and use it as the same, and it's incorrect. Holistic is just mind, body, spirit. It's the whole picture. A homeopathic does cover it treats the whole person, but it's actually a system of medicine that's been around over 200 years, over 100 years longer than Western medicine, allopathic medicine. Homeopathic means same disease. Allopathy, which is Western medicine, means opposite disease. And so with homeopathy, the body cannot hold two like diseases. So for instance, have you ever experienced where you might have, let's say, neck pain, or you have some chronic pain, and then you get sick, you get a cold, and then that pain goes away? So the body cannot hold two like diseases. So you take a substance, a homeopathic substance. They're those little tiny pellets that you get like in Whole Foods, right? And they are highly diluted substances, plant, mineral, animal. So there's not the actual substance anymore. It's the molecular structure. And this is where so many people poo-poo it, say, nothing's there. But they have actually been able to show that the water holds the molecular memory. And so by taking a substance that causes the symptoms that your body is experiencing, one knocks out the other. That's the law of similars. And so that's really what happened to me. Here I was, had the car accident, major change, leaving a marriage I'd been in for 9 years. My confidence was like this. I was, just did not have a lot of clarity at the time. I had aches and pains. I had tire tracks on my legs from the car. I went to this homeopath. Somebody referred me, and she chose this one homeopathic for me, and I took that, and it wasn't like a drug-like effect. It was just gradual over the next 6 months. I felt more clarity. I felt confidence. I felt excitement about life again, and I just felt more resilient. And I thought, gosh, this is incredible. And this just makes so much sense. So that's really how all my businesses have evolved. If I'm passionate about it and I'm excited about it, then I want to delve deeper into it. And that led me to 20 years running my homeopathic practice and building one of the largest homeopathic schools in the country.